bi-monthly to boost the economy. No more free handout from the party. You have to work for your salary. But if you thinking every Grenadian blind when you're forced to win Martin to resign, you tell me die not. There we go. Man, you do have nothing to sing about in 2023, cause you see that nothing ain't happening right now in the country. All the melee done, the confusion done, the government can do it no wrong. You won't get the opportunity to cry the NDC down. You have to wait for something to happen to compose a calypso hit, because I could write a song about nothing. The people go still love it, cause I am the kind of composer who could put lyrics together. Not only about Dick and Kit, I could take nothing and make sweet music. Like when they keep jumping in the money and they take back poor people 150, you tell me, die not. Die not. So not because Dr. Mitchell and Delma find themselves in a bitter dilemma. Die not. Die not. And if the PM run out from in finance and he leave Cornwall in a monkey pants, die nothing, die nothing. So if Kit Mitchell say he don't want Peter to be an NP political leader, die nothing, die nothing. I'm singing but nothing, so I hope you ain't digging nothing. This song is but nothing, so I hope you ain't digging nothing. Fine like you're talking nonsense, only stupidness you don't say. You should resign from singing Kaiso and go and fish by the day. You know how them judges just thief you. Why the hell you went go abroad? Get away from the shade of violence from St. Vincent to Trinidad. Man, you cannot tell me to shut up just because I talking so much. Because in the days of the NNP, you never asked the scholar to hush. The same scholar used to take nothing and do something to get me job. St. David's people know for certain, and I wish brother didn't well. But after one whole year and a few months past, I see poor people still catching their ass. You tell me, die not, die not. And no matter how much I should have cried, the ruling party won't give her a blind. But I not, die not. And when they shuffle up all the magistrate, Kinshama to Rinstone grab the bait. But I not, die not. My brothers and sisters in Carriacou used to love, but now they are afraid of you. But I not, die not. I'm singing but nothing, so I hope you ain't digging nothing. This song is but nothing, so I hope you ain't digging nothing. Calypsonian, my responsibility is to keep you reliably informed and unapologetically. You may call me a good for nothing, you may say that I'm talking shit, you may even call me a real bad man, but can't be a hypocrite. I was glad people get the pension, we know how much they deserve, and a new vessel for the Coast Guard, so they could better protect and serve. People getting money by monthly to boost the economy. No more free handout from the party. You have to work for your salary. But if you thinking every Grenadian blind when you're forced to win Martin to resign, you tell me die not. Die not. I know over the years, I think that the most promotion I see in the police force. But I nothing. Big NNP man killed in Carriacou. All these officers don't have a clue. But I nothing. Did you let the assailant get away? Never let me hear you say, die nothing. I'm singing but nothing. So I hope you ain't digging nothing. You could turn it into something. So I hope you ain't digging nothing.
What's this voice I hear of people in despair, wanting me to sing about their suffering? People struggling, a struggler like me. And those who need to hear, how much do they care when they driving past those windows tinted glass? They look out, but they refuse to see. I continue to be indebted. Your desire, my command. But can a government be impacted by a mere Calypsonian? They want their Calypso king to be a liberator. Alright. Give me melody and words and a voice and I will go there. But left to me alone, I would not dare. Oh no. The pleasures of life are all I've been living for. But you want a bold-faced singer? Hide his own shame, face a leader and all corruption by its name. Even though I may be guilty too, send me, look me, send me. The voice of the people is the voice of God. Why is the silence of the church so loud? And all the pillars of society, they are partial in their judgment. They never chastise your government. They talk of Jesus like it's history. I have never been one to stand up and speak against wrong, expose myself to political victimization. But they want their Calypso king to be a liberator. Alright. Give me melody and words and a horse and I will go there. Left to me alone, I would not dare. Oh no. The pleasures of life are all that I'm living for. But you want a bold-faced singer? Tell pastor and priest, yes, wrong. No practice what you preach, even though I may be unworthy. Send me, look me, send me, look me. A young man who does wrong may find redemption, but old men, devoid of wisdom, still trading their souls after money. It's a shame. Blame not the young leader, blame his advisors, those who steer the road. The blame is just they take people's survival for a game. And if their works be found in the evil domain, then you can count upon King Dice to call them by their name. They want their Calypso king to be a liberator. Alright, alright, alright. Give me melody and words and a cause and I will go there. But left to me alone, I would not dare. Oh no, oh no, oh no. The pleasures of life are all I've been living for. But you want a bold face, no face. Hide this disgrace and put wrongdoing in its rightful place. Even though I may act wrongfully, send me, look me, send me, send me. Da-da-da, da-da-da. Oh-da-da, da-da-da-da. Da-da-da. Take my number, call on me. Take my number, call on me. 617-2777. Take my number, aye. Call on me, aye. Give me. What's this voice I hear of people in despair, wanting me to sing about their suffering? People struggling, a struggler like me. And those who need to hear, how much do they care when they driving past those windows tinted glass? They look out, but they refuse to see. I continue to be indebted. Your desire, my command. But can a government be impacted by a mere Calypsonian? They want their Calypso king to be a liberator. Alright, alright, alright. Give me melody and words and a voice and I will go there. But left to me alone, I would not dare. Oh no, oh no, oh no. The pleasures of life are all I've been living for. But you want a bold-faced singer, hide his own shame, face a leader and all corruption by its name. Even though I may be guilty too, send me, look me, send me, send me. Alright, alright, alright. If the voice of the people is the voice of God, why is the silence of the church so loud and all the pillars of society? They are partial in their judgment, they never chastise your government. They talk of Jesus like it's history. I have never been one to stand up and speak against wrong, expose myself to political victimization. But the one they Calypso king to be a liberator. Alright, alright, alright. Give me melody and words and a course and I will go there. Left to me alone, I would not dare. Oh no, oh no, oh no. The pleasures of life are all that I'm living for. But you want a bold-faced singer? Tell pastor and priest, it's wrong. No practice what you preach, even though I may be unworthy. Send me, look me, send me, send me, send me, look me. A young man who does wrong may find redemption, but old men, devoid of wisdom, still trading their souls after money. It's a shame. Blame not the young leader, blame his advisors, those who steer the road. The blame is just they take people's survival for a game. And if their works be found in the evil domain, then you can count upon King Dice to call them by their name. They want their Calypso king to be a liberator. Alright, alright, alright. Give me melody and words and a cause and I will go there. But left to me alone, I would not dare. Oh no, oh no, oh no. The pleasures of life are all I've been living for. But you want a bold face, no face. Hide this disgrace and put wrongdoing in its rightful place. Even though I may act wrongfully, send me, look me, send me, send me. Take my number, call on me. Take my number, call on me. 617-2777. Take my number, aye. Call on me, aye. Take my number.
Lose me! Original Madman Zingo there! Calypso and here on them out and me, talking about my pride and integrity. He's trying for ball and I put it back, but I want me disqualified for that. I went on radio, I went on TV, and I gave this nation a public apology. Why don't you check some artist history? You have a lot of them who do worse things than me. They never pay no penalty. I never shot me hand below children's dress. Oh no, oh no. I never tried to rob liquor children's chest. Oh no, oh no. I never want no school children a job. Oh no, oh no. Halfway before they hold me hand in the lap. Oh no, oh no. I never ever involved in corruption. Oh no, oh no. I never licked myself with no drug baron. Oh no, oh no. I never tried to hold up no gas station. Oh no. And when him never calling the killing that many man, so leave Zingo alone. Lose me! Ah! Original Madman Zingo there! We tell him! Cause auntie say they say ban me too. Stop talking about saying go to fly Ligaroo. I wonder why those guys will give me a chance. To fly Ligaroo is a very high science. Ask Mano, just because I beat them in the semi. They do and say all those things to discredit me. But Casey tell me what is the problem. They singing before me and I winning come before them. So listen this story. I never shove me hand below children dress. Oh no, oh no. I never tried to rob like a children chest. Oh no, oh no. I never afford no school children a job. Oh no, oh no. I'm halfway before they hold me hand in the lap. Oh no, oh no. I never ever involved in corruption. Oh no, oh no. I never linked myself with.
And good evening to you, Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique. Once again, it is time for Talking Points. My name's Sheldon Scott. I'll be here with you until the 10 o'clock hour. And it's a lovely night in the Isle of Grenada. And indeed, we say a special good night to all of you who are, well, you're Grenadians, but you're visiting. So you're here, but you're here because you live elsewhere, but you're just visiting. We say a special, glorious Grenadian good night to each and every one of you. All of our listeners locally, regionally, and internationally. Those of you listening via the Grenadine Islands, and especially those of you who are listening via 91.9 FM, Real FM, 91.9, 91.5. I think Sister Isle should be joining us from tonight. I'm not sure. We'll sort that out if they are not. All right. And those of you listening to us via the internet, those of you who joined us via the Talking Points website, as well as via Facebook, and those of you who have joined us via YouTube as well, we say a special, glorious Grenadian good night to each and every one of you.
The next day on Jojo program, they say to ban me. The year before, artists bust up from an eye. I never hear they call and say to disqualify. So what is the problem? I never shove my hand below children dress. Oh no. Oh no. I never tried to rob like a children test. Oh no, oh no. I never offered no school children a job. Oh no, oh no. I'm halfway before the.
Let me say a special good night to, let me see who's on the live tonight. And let me see, on YouTube. Yeah, I'm going to have to do this one quickly. Gavin, Sky, Gemma, Sherma, Faithlin, Veronica, Kathleen, Kathleen, Jackie, Wilfred, Roberts, Alban, Lishra, Matthew, good night, Carl, Cynthia, Stephanie, Alan, Phyllis, Clive, Deborah, JC, Janice, Dominique, Hermina, Mayana, Errol, Crystal, Good Life, Christine, Anne-Marie, Jacinta, Faithlin, Baby Daddy, Alcy, Jacintha, Earl, Roland, Agnes, Gloria, Dominic, we'll go, Jakim, my partner. All right, yeah, Jakim. Michelle, good night. Wendy, good night to you. Eliza, public notice. Lucy, Kim, Anastasia, Jenna, Christopher, Cindy, Beavis, Ron. Good night to all of you who are joining us via the YouTube link. And let me see who is on Facebook tonight. Now, I'll go into the top. If I start from down, there will be problems. Let me see who's there. All right, so I'm seeing Earl, Errol, Christelle, Hicda, Esther Lynn, good night to you and your husband. I know both of you are listening. Marishan, Diana, Cleaver, Kenrick, Norma, John, Maudlin, Lynn, Dillion, Rawl, Bernadette, Cicely, Natanasha, Nisha, Anne, Jillian, Winnie, Shermay, good night to you. Kishon, Yolanda, Curtis, Sherry, Laslin, Kishon, Monica, Small Axe. Yeah, boy. Small axe to cut down big tree. Eh? All right, don't worry. The tree really green and he's safe. You know the axe sharpening for him right now. Jocelyn, Curtis, and okay, Curtis, I'll do that. Maudlin, Curtis, is that the one, my personal or the studio? I'll check it. Yeah, because I had a problem with the studio WhatsApp for the last couple of days. Maudlin, Maria, Sharon, Dalton, Denise, Veronica, Sherms, Walland, Mavis, Dr. Dubois, good night to you. I know you must be tired today. Esther, Dwight, Ashley, Nikisha. Let me see, Nikisha. That is my Nikisha. Yes, that's my little Charlie. Nikisha, how you doing there? How is daddy? Joan, Maudlin, Keshroy, Merkel, Carla, Susan, Denise, Phyllis, Jill, what's up? Nurse Maguire, I know you're back in the cold, girl. Yeah, you know, coming in from the cold. I know you go. Tevin Davis, John, Cynthia, good night to all of you who are joining us via the Facebook. And those of you that have not mentioned, if you don't say good night and think I ain't go see the name, Keshraya, here is an Englishman right now. My good Petit Martinican friend. Yes, indeed. So, folks, let me see. No, let me pull up a nice one for you all.
So much people complaining about the government. I wonder why they complaining when it's only 1 year they spent. They come in and complain to me, which I find strange, because the election victory, majority voted for change. So then I start to wonder, what is some of them seen? Why complain to this fella when they know my color is green? It seems like they don't have patience. That's the reason why. Or something pricking the conscience. They just cannot satisfy. Don't blame me. Don't complain to me. Why complain to me? Change you wanted to see. Oh, don't blame me. Don't complain to me. Why complain to me? Change you wanted to see. 13 years we in power. You was in opposition. You won with your propaganda. I really thought you had a plan. You appeal to them old people, push promise in the head. If they only vote for you, pension will be 400. So much seniors they turn out to give you their support. Right now some of them hand to mouth because you lock the throat. $50 you increase, that's not what you promise. And if they have children overseas, you remove their name from the list. Don't blame me.
Crystal, behave tonight. You just going kind of bad in my chat room. Behave, right? Nice. Good. It's 12 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock on the Spice Isle of Grenada. Let me say a special good night to my 3.5 crew. They know who they are. When I say 3.5, all of them know themselves. Yes, that's my old classmates. Let me say a special good night to you all. I know you all are hanging out and having a special line tonight. Good night, yeah? Nikki, Susan, Angeline, Lovell, Amar, Suresh. If I miss anybody, it's because Ali wasn't on the video earlier.
To them Imani and make them understand. If they vote for NDC, you giving them a grant. Now you from the government, you bring youth empowerment. All who
Lola B, good night to you, and Amina, Enid, Landon, good night to all of you. Denise, good night to Teresa, Lisa, Davis, good night to you. Antonito, I haven't heard you for a while, bro. I don't know what it is. I haven't heard from you for a while, and that's not like me and you, bro. Mikhail, Rosemary, good night to you. Yeah, I hope that you all are having a wonderful night tonight, yeah?
Since after the election, supporters threatening me. They have a letter from madman.
Well, quite a lot to discuss tonight, so we're going to get into it. Just share the live. Make sure that a friend tells a friend that another friend that Talking Points is on. I ain't find us any number looking to see it before I dive into those discussions, yeah?
Cause if you all know the madman, this youth always have a plan. If you listen,
we will be having a guest on with us tomorrow night. I just have to double confirm with them. They did tell me they would be on Tuesday night. So we will be having a guest on with us tomorrow. You know me, usually I say it at the last minute. I don't want it to seem as though, yeah, so I am speaking to that individual. We'll reconfirm in the morning whether they will be on with me tomorrow night, but we should be having a guest on tomorrow night with us.
don't complain to me. Why
Good night to you, Andre Donald.
come to this country?
Let me say a special good night to the media fraternity on a whole, yeah?
To me, why complain to me? Change you wanted to see. Don't blame me. Don't complain to me. Why complain to me? Change come to this country. Don't blame me. Don't complain to me. Why complain to me? Change you wanted to see.
me say a special good night to you, Zayla. You know, I must tell the children hello and good night because after a while, you know, they have to go to bed. So good night to you, Zayla. Sorry, Uncle Sheldon will see you soon.
For this Kambule,
good night to you, Zoe. I know Zoe's listening.
Yes, we everywhere. Taking
And good night to you, Exalia.
we breaking all rules.
Yes, these 3 children religiously listen to Talking Points every night, yeah?
If the campaign didn't pass in the yard,
Let me, no, you know what? People go join us. Let me ask you a question here. I want to ask of the, and I'm going to pause my music in the background there, yeah, because it's kind of, I hear it through my headphones still, so it threw me off. Let me ask you a question. My first question for tonight is directed towards the Minister of Health and the Ministry of Health. I'm asking, what is the problem with students who have studied in Cuba? Yeah? What is the problem with the students who have studied in Cuba? Because I've been hearing some stuff, and it's very disturbing, that the students who have studied in Cuba, in other words, medical doctors, people with a medical degree, medical doctors, yeah, inclusive of, and I must state this, inclusive of dentists. And since 2022, they have been waiting to be accredited by the island of Grenada, the island that they came from. Let me say it again because maybe some of you may not understand what I've just said. The island of Grenada, who, through the Cuban government, sent several young people to be trained in the medical profession, to be medical doctors, some with specialities in various areas, inclusive of dentists. These people have completed their training in Cuba. They are certified as medical doctors. They have come back to the island of Grenada, where their neighbor Shringberry, where they are from, the same island that sent them to be accredited as doctors. So they've spent the requisite number of years and done the requisite training. They have been qualified. They have been certified as medical doctors through the Cuban medical system, same as many other doctors we have on island right now. These individuals have returned to the state of Grenada, which for the last year has been playing ring around the roses with these people. They cannot be accredited up to now. You know what has been happening? Because we're talking about shortage of doctors and nurses and all kind of thing. But you have people who have trained, who have returned, who have applied to be accredited here in Grenada that have not been accredited. So I know what Laco doing. Maybe he's too busy trying to pray on stage or getting loan from GDB or whatever. I don't know what he's busy doing because we're hearing things. So it could be that he's too busy studying house in wherever for 1.7 million and loan from GDB. We don't know. Maybe he's too busy with that he can't focus on sorting out our issues that he has been hired to deal with. So now we have the situation of several young people who have been accredited, certified, fully trained as doctors, yeah, returning to the state of Grenada, and the state of Grenada is not recognizing them and not because you can't, even though you've been trained in Cuba and you're now accredited, you can't just come and open a doctor's practice in Grenada, you know. The island of Grenada has to give you accreditation. You have to be accredited to operate as a doctor in the island of Grenada. So even though you may come back and you call Dr. So-and-so, and you have all your certificates and all kind of thing, and you've topped your class in Cuba, in Cienfuegos, or wherever it is, or Matanzas, or wherever you come from, in Cuba, and you come back here, the government of Grenada still has to certify those individuals as doctors who are legally certified to operate within the state of Grenada. And your government is refusing to do that. I have to say refusing, because I cannot understand that these young people have come back since 2022 and still cannot be accredited as doctors in the state of Grenada, inclusive of dentists. Nobody in the Ministry of Health can tell me I lie, you know. And if they try to tell me I lie, I will embarrass you all. Fix the issue. You know what has been happening? Some of these people have been applying to other islands. So you know who getting the people that Grenada took up, the brilliant young minds that Grenada took and sent to Cuba to learn medicine, to train as medical professionals, and come back and give to the state of Grenada. You know what has been happening with those young people? Check St. Kitts, check St. Lucia, check all them islands going up the road. Check down in Trinidad, check Barbados and Jamaica. Check those countries and you'd realize that those doctors that have been coming back here and waiting on accreditation still have not been accredited, and as such have been looking for jobs outside. And don't think it's the doctors alone. Not because they don't have medication means that they have to provide all that sort of problems for the pharmacists as well. Yes, those people who have gone out and studied to be pharmacists and have come back into Grenada, they as well are having problems to be accredited here in Grenada. And you see, when we speak about it, they spin it as though it's something political and NNP just making trouble and all this kind of thing. But at the end of the day, when you go to the hospital and you need health care and there is no pharmacist there to provide they don't have the medication in the first place, but they don't even have the pharmacist there that if they had the medication to provide you within a short period of time and properly the medication that needs to be given to you, and they also don't have the doctors to prescribe the medication, it is a different thing. There's no politics. This is life and death. That's why I continue to say it is high time that the Prime Minister fires the Minister of Health. And if he don't fire the Minister of Health, it's high time that he fire himself. Because we cannot understand how in 2023 you had people that were in university in Cuba up to 2022, graduated and came back to the state of Grenada in 2022 and still cannot be accredited. When people going to the emergency room and finding out that there's one doctor there who actually is supposed to be on the ward because that is where they're scheduled to be, and they were asked a favor to hold on in accident and emergency because there are not enough doctors to cover, and yet still you have people who are trained doctors that you would not accept into the system. Lack of time to go. It is no other way to describe it. It is time to make a change. Yes, we know all they go in and fire some PS and who all they bring in Ministry of Education, and all they go change up and drop who in Ministry of Foreign Affairs and who in Religious Affairs, and all they go in and take this one out, and who all they just bring in. Peran, how you doing, girl? I hear all they go in and kick out, who all they go in and kick out and all kind of thing. I hear all kind of stories about what going and take place with the permanent secretaries. What you all need to do is fire some of the ministers. Not even shuffle them, you know. Fire them. They need to go. Because if they are incompetent in one ministry, shifting them to another ministry isn't going to change their incompetence. Yeah? Some of them need to just go. Fully go. Get out. Go. And even if the Prime Minister does not have the gastrointestinal fortitude, because some people that say they are what? They are guts and their belly. But even if the Prime Minister does not have the gastrointestinal fortitude to tell them time to go, they in themselves should understand that what they are doing is endangering the lives of Grenadians, and that they on their own should know to just walk in and hand the resignation letter and go. Don't try to make it nice and all kind of thing about, oh, this has happened so, and this is, no. You have people, and try and say that I lie. Say that I'm lying. Yeah? Hold a press conference. Say that I am lying. Send out a release. Say that I am lying. I challenge you all. Say that what I am saying here tonight is not true. And that you don't have doctors sitting down for the last 12 months waiting on certification. That should be in the health system in Grenada. That should be up in Maribo. That should be in Princess Royal in Carriacou. that should be at the general hospital and should be making the wrongs in the different communities and so. Say that what I am saying is not true. Say that all the dentists that have come back, that you all have not accredited them. Tell them that, tell me and tell the nation that you all have accredited them. Okay, if you do it tonight, you do it tonight. If you do it tomorrow, you do it tomorrow. If you do it this week, you do it this week. And the same with the pharmacists. You're telling me that you're so incompetent that you have a shortage, you have access to individuals to help reduce that shortage, and that you don't immediately grab on. I realize that apparently the minister has a problem with Cuba, because I remember there was a situation where the Cuban government, they bought the tickets and all these things for a certain minister, who might be Minister Laco, to go to Cuba, and they never went. Cause the people to spend waste money. Because they bought ticket and his hotel and accommodation and transportation, all these things. And then at the end of the day, they never went. The Cubans, who've been helping us since Oioho. And this is the way you're treating them. But even worse, this is the way you're treating young, intelligent Grenadians. So, St. Kitts benefiting, Antigua, St. Lucia, they are applying outside, because if they come home with their medical certificates, they are qualified doctors, and you are not hiring them within the country that send them to be trained to offer their services in the country, then they are left with no option. We expect them to do sit down home and twiddle their thumbs? No, they have to go. Some have already gone. And I'm challenging them. Say that what I am saying is untrue. Say it. Yeah? Wait. I'm now looking at some of the comments. Yeah, Wendy, you had what? We papa. I have some listeners who make some very kind of statements within the comments, and not all of them that I can repeat. But yeah, so that's the first one. I just want to speak on that one because I wanted to make the Grenadian people who are going to the healthcare facilities and they are not receiving the treatment because they're being told that we don't have a doctor, there's not enough doctors, and so on. Because fear is fear to the doctors that are within the system. They are overworked. Because you have a doctor who is scheduled to be on a ward. So they may be scheduled to be on, let's say, female medical or female surgical. And then they receive a last minute call that says to them, we need you to go and hold on in accident and emergency because we have nobody for there. So this person is actually supposed to be on, let's say, female medical, and they find themselves also in accident and emergency. That has been happening, and they can't tell me what I am saying is a lie. Nothing I say here tonight they could tell me is a lie. None. Because I'll embarrass them. I'll start to pull documents and put up. I'll embarrass them. Yeah? Fix the problem. Yeah? Who finding time to jam on a bam bam and whine on a bam bam during the carnival? Find the same energy. In fact, we ain't want that energy because that energy was kind of low key. But find more energy than that. And deal with the situations that are affecting the people of Grenada. The poor and vulnerable who can't jump a plane and fly out every 2 days. And say that they're going on state business and is medical, they go in and do and all kind of thing. The average poor person can't do that. Even if they have family members overseas. The family members overseas, they don't have a never-ending flood of money, They have their issues they have to take care of, whether they're in Canada or the US or they're in the UK or wherever. They have their own issues they have to take care of. So sometimes, unless it is absolute life or death, they can't leave out what they have to do there, the mortgage and all these other things, to bring the family member up to sort them out. So if we could sort them out here, do what you can to help sort them out here. These are the same people that are talking about building hospital, They wouldn't accredit doctors that have trained in Cuba. They wouldn't accredit those doctors, but they're talking about building hospital. And we won't get to the building hospital in a little while. We will get to the building hospital in a little while.
Now only 1 year later, this country have been heart failure. Hey.
Well, Lola say Lako can go here alone to pay.
When you don't win, say damn it.
So you mean there's a preoccupation as to whether or not you have the money to pay the loans and so on, and not in serving the Grenadian people, which is why you were hired in the first place?
I'm all that charge. We love honesty. With it we must succeed. How can we grow without?
Me, only what I'm going to say what Andre said this morning. I don't go. Andre Donald, I don't go along that road.
The paradise. Why strangle the hopes by trying to build on lies?
Yeah, and I'm going to say one or two things before I open the phone lines. I haven't opened the phone lines yet, but just take note of what the phone numbers are. 440-7377. You can call directly and on WhatsApp. And also 347-329-3101. Take a note of the phone numbers. We're not opening the phone lines yet. Now, I was going over some documents over the weekend. I've been doing some reading over the weekend in and between. And some things struck me because I realized that we have a parliament sitting that's taking place this week. I think it's on Friday. Yeah, I think it's on Friday that we have a parliament sitting that's going to take place. One of the documents, at least I think it's the main document that would be going up before Parliament this week, will be the supplementary estimates for 2023. In other words, your supplementary, let me explain it to those of you that may not understand what your supplementary estimates are. Now, you've done your budget, right? So in December last year, the Deacon Mitchell administration read and presented their 2023 budget. Now, the supplemental is for money that is additional to that budget. Now, the provisions would have been made there, allowing government some leeway that they can borrow additional and so on. But they are now asking for, I think it's in the region of 80 million. I have to check whether it's 80 or how much $1 million. Additional to what they spoke about in December is what they are asking for now. Yeah? I'm hearing figures being mentioned there of $60 million for land acquisition. Let me say that again. The government of Grenada is about to take $60 million for land acquisition. You and I know that in the government gazette 2 weeks ago, we saw the first publication. Yeah, we saw the first publication in relation to the acquisition of the property that is now held by Lewis Hamilton's company, Tyneburg Holdings, where Radisson Grenada sits. Radisson Grenada is owned by Issa Nicholas' company, right? But while they own the buildings, the property it sits on belongs to Tyneburg Holdings, which is a company that belongs to Lewis Hamilton. Remember the debacle that happened between 2008 and 2013 with the then NDC administration, where they made a total mess of the agreement that was put in place with Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton was not just given land. Lewis Hamilton entered into agreement with the government of Grenada that what he would do is that he would develop that property. So the property that's there, he would develop that property into a 5-star property, right? So that, for instance, all of the stars, and so that he interacts with all of the sports personalities, multi-billionaires and so on, that he interacts with various parts of the world, Middle East and Morocco and all these places, that he would have created a facility in Grenada that these big rollers would have been able to come to and spend money in Grenada. And they may have come here to visit his property, see something in Grenada and decided, hey, I want to spend a 500 million on that. I want to build that factory. I want to invest in energy in Grenada to drive the cost of energy down. I'll make money, yeah, but I'll drive the cost of energy down. So all of these people, that is what Lewis Hamilton was doing. Part of the agreement was that Lewis would use his brand to advertise Grenada. That's why for several years, I wonder if I have a photo of it here. For several years, he had the flag of Grenada on his helmet and different things like that. And you don't want to know the cost of having your flag on the helmet of one of these race car drivers in the various circuits that Lewis Hamilton drives in. You're talking tens of millions of dollars in some instances. Just to have, there's not no 100,000 US and them kind of thing. You're talking millions. You had to start in the millions when you're speaking about those kind of things. Lewis Hamilton agreed to do that for the state of Grenada, still build a hotel there that he could get all these heavy rollers, the multi-millionaires and billionaires to come to. Right? The Tillman Thomas administration derailed the entire thing with all kind of stupid accusations. Yeah? That's how the NNP government just give Lewis the land, and that was not it. There was an agreement. Yeah? There was an agreement in relation to this. Now, the government of Grenada was taken to court by Issa Nicholas and so on. And you could guess who their lawyer was, because they have a very prominent lawyer in Grenada right now. And in fact, they're one of the highest at the highest places. So from the information I've been gleaning, yeah, the lawyer representing Issa Nicholas was Deacon Mitchell and Associates, in it. But now we see a second publication in relation to the reclamation of that property. Yeah? We are seeing yeah. So we are seeing that when it comes to the property, that there is now a, let me see if I can pull it up here. Yeah, the Government Gazette, and let me see if I can pull it up for you to see. The second publication has been made in relation to this issue. Yeah, so now those properties are to be returned to the state of Grenada. What the state of Grenada does with them, we await to hear. But the properties will now be returned to the state of Grenada. Yeah? So the lawyers that previously, I don't know if they're still the lawyers, but I know that at one point in time, and I don't know if that point in time extended to today, or last year, or last week, or last month, the lawyers for Issa Nicholas, the people who have the buildings on the property that government has now taken over, the lawyers for those individuals was Deacon Mitchell Company, his law firm, and Associates and Company, because there's two, Deacon Mitchell and Company and Deacon Mitchell and Associates and so on. So, but the bottom line is Deacon Mitchell. We continue to ask the question because now we see the second publication, yeah? And it's right here. You can see the second publication in relation to this issue, right? So that now the properties ought to, because I'm hearing that there may be some sort of legal challenges. I don't know for sure, but I'm hearing that there may be some sort of legal challenges in relation to this issue, so that there will be some legal challenges in relation to this property being passed on to Tyneburg Holdings, to Government of Grenada from Tyneburg Holdings. But at the same token, you realize that in the supplemental, the additional money that they didn't budget for in the budget of 2023, when they presented that budget in December of 2022, they are now asking for some $60 million to acquire properties. So in other words, you're going to end up having to pay Tyneburg. So they're getting money that they're going to have to pay Tyneburg. Yeah? And whatever other transactions have to take there, either between Issa Nicholas and the government, and We've heard who the lawyers were previously. I don't know if they're still the lawyers. And if Deacon Mitchell's law firm is still a lawyer for Issa Nicholas and they have to get into an agreement with the government of Grenada, Deacon Mitchell's law firm has to be paid. And we're hearing $60 million there. So we know, you understand how much money you're going to pay. I don't know about how much money does pay in them thing there. If it is the case that his law firm is still the law firm representing Issa Nicholas. The mere fact, though, that his law firm, even if they pass it on to a secondary law firm, was the law firm representing Issa Nicholas, means that the Prime Minister himself ought to have recused himself from any cabinet sitting which gave the recommendation to the Governor General to do what has been done. At least to give the impression that no wrongdoing is taking place. So we await to hear if the Prime Minister recuse himself from that cabinet sitting. But then still remember, even if he take himself out, even if he step out of the room, he could fire anybody there in that room. You think they're going and say, no, don't do it? Yeah, he could fire anybody in the room. Because they used to say all kind of thing about Dr. Mitchell, and they could never say this about him. That is for sure. They can never make that accusation on him. But here's another thing. From what I've been picking up, some of that $60 million that government is about to use to acquire lands that government don't own right now is going to go towards that property in Calivini. Yeah, in Calivini there that they went and looked at the last time and say that they're going and put the hospital there and they're going to put some housing there, and so some of that 60 million, I don't know if it's 20 million, I don't know if it's 15 million, I don't know if it's 30 million, I don't know if it's 50 million, I don't know what it is, but some of that money is going to go towards the purchase of those properties in Calivini for the site for a hospital and housing and all of that. But ask yourself this question: who is the law firm that owns the company? Who is the law firm that works for the company that owns the land? You might be very surprised because I hear in the name Deacon Mitchell calling a lot. And not just as Prime Minister. While he keeps saying that he isn't practicing law right now, he owns the company and is the beneficial owner of the company that is doing these things. So if the company make 2 million, is he make the 2 million? If the company makes 5 million, even though he may not be running the company on a day-to-day basis, it's still he make the 5 million. Yeah? So to say that, oh, you're not practicing, that is not an excuse. Because I'm hearing that the owners of that land, that their lawyer, the lawyer or lawyers representing them, comes from that particular law firm that's attached to the Prime Minister. So when you hear 60 million and you realize that in one case, the Prime Minister was the representative of one of the persons that can possibly end up as a beneficiary of this particular move by the government to reclaim the land, because they could pass the land on to somebody for $1 for the next 100 years. They could do that. They could legally, they can do that. They can say, hey, take this property, give us $1. We're going to work it out at 1 cent for the next 100 years or whatever. Well, usually they go at 99. Give us 99 cents, a cent for the next 99 years or whatever it is. Right? They can do that. Legally, they can do that. And the law firm that represents the people that they can do that with has been, in the near past, Deacon Mitchell's law firm. Now we're hearing that that's $60 million that they're coming to Parliament to pass in relation to land acquisition. We are also hearing now that when it comes to the property that they're looking for the hospital in Calivini there, and also for the say for housing and whatever, we're hearing that those lands, the company, the law firm that might have to do that, may be the Prime Minister's law firm. We need clarity on these issues. Because it seems as though things are being set up in one way. That's the allegation that's out there. That is the fair comment that can be made, because it can be verified who has been the lawyers of Issa Nicholas. It can be verified who have been the lawyers of the Grenada Sugar Factory and Mr. Nichols. It can be verified who has been their lawyers. Yeah? But the allegations out there are that it has been the person who is sitting in the seat of the Prime Minister right now. And we see decisions being taken at the cabinet level, and we wonder if the Prime Minister has been part of these decisions, to take $60 million and pass it on to, well, not the full 60 million, but a couple million at least, to a former client or clients of the Prime Minister. So we have to ask ourselves, as a fair comment in relation to this issue, if all the thing that is right. They could tell me, or they could try and tell me I lie, it's not me that bringing the, it's not me that bringing the supplemental. And why is someone saying that they're not getting any song? I think that's on your end. It's not coming from on my end. Yeah? But I'm asking that question, because if the law firm that's going to do the conveyance just happens to belong, the beneficial owner, even if you have partners in it, but the person who owns that law firm, whose name is attached to that law firm, is the Prime Minister, in my view, that is wrong. If the person who is going to do whatever conveyance between Issa Nicholas and the government of Grenada for the properties where the Radisson is, although I'm hearing it wasn't done properly, or there ain't court case coming up with that, might end up costing how much million again, all kind of things. But let's see where that develops. But I am very interested in hearing who are the lawyers, and also not who are the lawyers now, because I could easily go and tell another lawyer take over that case for me. Yeah? You could easily tell another lawyer, go and deal with that for me. I'll take a 10% or whatever you get. I'll take a 50% or whatever you get, handing that case to you. You can also do that. No, I have not said that is what they're doing. I have said that that's a possibility. You could front another law firm and say to that law firm, go forth and deal with that case for that person who has been my client. And when you have completed, I am going to get that and you are going to get that. Nobody else know about that? Yeah? So we're hearing about that $60 million in relation to land acquisition. Going to Parliament this week, from what I'm hearing. I haven't seen the documentation and so on yet for the full Parliament sitting. But from what I have been picking up, $60 million in relation, and that's just in relation to land acquisition, and not just those two. There may be other properties that government is seeking to acquire and have to pay people for, because I said to you all, I believe it has been last week, government can seize any property anywhere in Grenada and then pay fair market value for it under the Constitution of Grenada. That's just, it's under the Constitution. You can do that, but it must be for a public purpose. All right? If you can't prove what public purpose it is for, you could very well find yourself tied up in court. So it must be for a public purpose. So we await what the developments in relation to this issue are, and I wait to hear what the Prime Minister has to say in relation to this issue. The Minister of Finance and the Prime Minister and anybody on that side, what they have to say in relation to the acquisition of these properties and the perceived and alleged connections between the head of government and those entities that may very well benefit from this move that is being made by the cabinet, in which he could fire any one of them tonight self if he decides to do it. He could drive by the Governor General right now and fire any one of them that he deems to do. So, they kind of beholden to him. And here's what? Hey, Joyce, good night to you. Also in that supplemental budget, I realize all you try and explain to me. Maybe somebody who's listening out there might be able to explain this one to me, huh? Somebody out there might be able to explain this one to me. Can you all tell me, how is it possible for the government of Grenada that, one, we don't know what the theme for Independence 50th celebration is. We ain't see a logo. We ain't hear a theme. They go rush and do it. Since I talked tonight, they go rush and try and do a press conference this week. They go try and scramble together. And they go realize they scramble because they can't answer questions. All of a sudden, the media mic ain't going to work when Linda to ask a question and this one had to ask a question. They go realize the mic ain't working when certain people have to ask questions. But anyhow, we ain't hear no theme for the Independence celebrations. What's the theme for Independence 2024? The 50th anniversary of Independence. We ain't know. We ain't hear nothing. We ain't see a logo. We don't have a schedule of activities that are going to take place. Yet still, the government is coming this week to ask for $7.5 million for 2023. Not for next year, you know. For between now and December, $7.5 million to spend on independence celebrations. Not to spend on environmental cleanliness. In other words, the bushing and other such programs. Yeah? Not to spend on refurbishment of schools or something like that. $7,500,000 to be spent on independence celebrations between now and December, and understanding that government stops its spending in October when it closes off to prepare for the 2024 budget. So I'm very interested in knowing, how does your government intend to spend between, because there's a caveat to the 7.5 million. They say that's basically for 2023, so that they'll be looking for more for 2024. So I'm trying to figure out what activities we have here in Grenada that we need 7.5, even if it had said that is up to independence, up to February. I'm trying to figure out what active $7.5 million? If you say a million, I may have understood. But 7.5 million? There's a lot of things that I may say, yeah, and some people seem to be having a problem with the broadcast, and I don't know why. Folks, if you're having problems on YouTube, go to Facebook. If you're having the problems on Facebook, go to YouTube. That's the only thing I can say, because I am not sure why some of you may be having problems with the broadcast tonight. I'm seeing one or two messages coming over from some individuals. Yeah, somebody's asking me if I'm on. I am not sure what's happening. Let me make a check here and see what's going on. Yeah, it seems as though we're having a problem with Facebook. I'm not sure what has happened to Facebook, but Facebook seems to have shut down. And as usual, as I always tell folks, if you're having a problem with the Facebook, head over to the YouTube. Yeah, that's why I always make that statement. And make sure you're subscribed on the YouTube so that you get the notification. Yeah. Let me see if I could get my techie to work on that issue. I know he's listening. Yeah, let me see if I can get them to work on that one.
Yes, they use and abuse women. They raise no children. They live the life of wicked thoughts, corruption, embarrassment, and shame.
Yeah, they may be afraid of what is being said, eh?
Forces of nature, they need to have the citizens living in fear. Man, but be not afraid.
can't seem to find what the problem with the Facebook is. It must be a problem probably on Facebook. So let me see if I can restart that. Yeah, give me 1 minute. Let me see if I could restart that. Yeah, so let me restart this to restart that.
We live in a time when the rulers of men are scornful of principles of godliness, wisdom, and freedom. But woe comes swiftly, man. But woe comes quickly. Yes, they use and abuse women. They raise no children. They live the life of wicked thoughts, corruption, embarrassment, and shame. So in order to maintain power against the very forces of nature, they need to have the citizens living in fear. Man, but be not afraid, for there is
I'm not sure what's taking place with the Facebook. But you know, we can't stop and just, yeah, we have to continue. We'll sort it out after.
slave himself.
I've been trying to restart the YouTube, the Facebook, but it is giving me some problems, and I'm not sure why. It is giving me some problems, and I'm trying to figure out why it's doing that.
Just as the longest road comes to a bend, so do the evil works of evil men come to soon to come to an end. I sing, but
Well, at least we're okay on YouTube. So I'm very interested in hearing that Parliament sitting this week, and every one of us should be interested. $7.5 million in relation to independence celebrations, and talking about just the period of for between now, that's August basically, and the end of, because there is also a allocation that says more can be spent. So while we're speaking of that, so I'm really trying to find out. I'm seeing several areas there that are concerning me when it comes to spending. So I'm very interested to see what government is putting forward under the supplemental $7.5 million for independence. You're speaking about a country where we are having problems when it comes to medication in our hospitals. And you're speaking about $7.5 million for song and dance and pageant and ceremony, while you have people unable to get medication when they go to our health facilities. You're speaking about $7.5 million when we have a situation where people are complaining that they haven't been paid. Yeah? And yet still, because I don't know if you're talking about $7.5 million in relation to, well, we're going to use that to fly in our friends and so, because you know, big delegation does go. I don't know. I'm asking questions here. Is that $7.5 million to be able to pay for the flights of all your friends and girlfriends and so on that want to go to Toronto for the 50th independence celebration? So you hear that a delegation of 40 gone up there. And we're not talking about cultural performers and all kind of things. Some of the people you're asking, but what to send that person there for? There are photographers, there are videographers there. Why does a secretary need to go? You have to ask yourself those questions. Is that $7.5 million? What is the breakdown? How is that money going to be spent? And on what? Yeah, you're going and spend $2 million on fireworks, burn it out in the air? You could ask the Chinese for that. They'll help you out. Yeah, I could tell you that straight up, so cancel that off. All right? The Chinese wouldn't know that you're celebrating your 50th anniversary of independence and not provide fireworks and things. They getting you that? Now Chinese, if you are joking them kind of thing, they're glad to be part of the whole thing. And they're selling a military contingent to help you do it special. Yeah? So what is this 7.5? I'm concerned. Because there are so many other things. You've taken $150 away from the most vulnerable citizens in our country. You have taken $150 away from all of the people in our country who are the most vulnerable. Yet at the same time that you're doing that, remember, yeah, your former candidate for St. Andrew Northwest, yeah, the person who was beaten by the New National Party there, came into the parliament and said that that $150 would remain for people under the SEED program. That money was removed. And then you say it wasn't budgeted for. Well, this $7,500,000 was not budgeted for either. That is why it is now part of a supplemental bill going to Parliament. You have heard the cries of those people who that $150 was taken from. You've heard their cries. You've heard them on the radios. You've heard them calling different programs, not just this program. You've heard those people. And not only heard them, but you've hurt those people. But now you could find in this instance, because it seems as though outside of this 7.5 million that they're going to use just for celebration, so I don't know, maybe cake and ice cream. I don't know what they're doing with the 7.5 million. Because in my mind, there's no justification that they could come with. Not at a point in time that your economy is in the state that it is at right now. The same set of people were speaking about putting things into the economy so that it can build. 7,500,000 in relation to independence celebrations and within this year. And if we were to say that, okay, so for the next 4 months, September, October, November, December, they're going to spend 7.5 million. If we look at next year and we use the same calculation, it means that they're going to be spending over $22 million in 2024 in relation to independence celebrations. If we're using the same calculation for the next 4 months of 7.5 million to be used in 4 months, and you're looking at 2024, are they going to be asking for 20-something million in the budget that they're going to present in either November or December? We don't know. But we're asking these questions because remember, they say that the independence celebrations will be throughout the year 2024. Not just in 2020, up to February of 2024, but throughout the year. So all the supporters and friends and all the people who have been funding the party and so on, is it that we're going to see them jump in JetBlue and Air Canada and all these things and coming in Grenada at the cost of the Grenadian taxpayer, me and you, the average Grenadian? Is it that we're going to see them coming into Grenada, chartered flights, and so to say that they're coming and celebrate the 50th anniversary of independence, paid for by the government of Grenada? Are those some of the things we're going to be seeing? Is it a case that we're going to be seeing large delegations leaving Grenada to go to different points that you believe you have a lot of Grenadians, like Canada, different parts of the US, the UK, and so on? Are we going to see large delegations leaving Grenada to go to these places? What are the economic benefits that Grenada is going to gain from that $7.5 million that this government is asking for this week in Parliament? The phone lines are open, 440-7377. Yeah? And 347-329-3101. The phone lines are open, you can call. What are the benefits that the average Grenadian is going to see from this kind of expenditure? Yeah, we're seeing when it comes to the SEED program, and this one is kind of weird to me because I'm still trying to, I don't know, maybe I'm trying to figure it out in my mind. When we're speaking of the SEED program, and yes, I think it's over 88 million that they're looking for, $88 million, close to $89 million that the government is looking for. I'm trying to conclude whether that is inclusive or exclusive to the 60 million in relation to land acquisition, because I think outside of the 80 million they're looking for that 60 million for the land acquisition. And there are several areas under the supplemental budget that they bring in. In other words, they did a budget last year, they miss out a set of things, even things like seed, where they speak about and say that we are doing the recertification of the seed program. They said it in the budget, but they didn't place money in the budget for it. So now in the supplementary, they have to be asking for the money to pay the people who are doing the recertification under seed. No, seriously, that ask them. The parliament is coming up, you know. Anything I say here that they could say that not in the supplemental. And I'm trying to see what's the figure, trying to figure out what's the figure and thing. You understand? For seed and them kind of thing. Because I am concerned. It's over $130-something thousand for recertification of seed. Something that, as far as I was being told by different individuals, was supposed to have been completed at the end of July. Yeah? And which, when we spoke with the former manager of the seed program, is already a continuous process anyway. And now you're asking for $0.1 million in relation to that particular program. Yeah? And remember, it's the same program that they are recertifying people under. So they have removed people from the program. We have not heard how much people they removed from the program. That figure seems to be very elusive, because neither Mr. Telesford or Ms. Thomas is telling us how many people were removed from the seed program, but we're hearing some 700 plus people have been added to the program. Yeah? And remember, when Senator Gloria Thomas read her budget presentation speaking about leaving the $150 in for each of the people there, that means that a budgetary allocation was made for that. Well, it ought to have meant that, but it seems as though that is not the case. So it all goes back to when Dr. Mitchell was speaking at the last budget presentation, and he made the statement that the statements and the figures don't add up. Dr. Mitchell knew what he was saying. Dr. Mitchell was saying that he was telling us that the statements and the figures don't add up. That the Prime Minister, then Minister of Finance, was making statements in his budget presentation, and then when you check the actual budget, the figures were either different to what he was quoting in the budget statement, right? So you had one figure, he would say, we're going to spend 50 million on this, and then when you check the budget document, that how much 100-page document, I've showed you it here before, that how much 100-page document, when you check the actual budget document, that the figure wasn't 50 million, that you might see 20 million or you might see 30 million. But he's saying 50 million. So that the statements he was making and what was in the actual budget document were two different things. And he has been proven correct when you see the supplemental coming out right now. Now, for instance, the Ministry of Education has said no school fees. No allocation was made to replace the monies that the schools usually collect. Now, the schools would say to parents, when you're coming to register your child or when the child is going to another form, that we need X amount of money as a school fee. Now, we know the initial one, you have different things like school tie, or if they have a special shirt, monogram shirt, whatever it is, that's one thing. But some of that money went to running different aspects of the school itself, be it stationery or maybe a cook, a security guard, different things. Some of that money went towards those things. Now, that has been removed by the government, right? Which means that an allocation ought to have been done under the Ministry of Education to replace what they told parents they don't have to pay. So parents wouldn't have to pay it one way, but they will pay it the next way. You're paying it through taxes, but you're not paying it direct as you just take it out and give to the school. But you would be paying it through taxes, through the government. The allocation to those primary, secondary schools, nowhere in the budget of 2022, and it's still not even in the supplemental. What they have done, they have placed the supplemental. Remember last year they're talking about TAMCC and we're going to make TAMCC free and all this kind of thing and so on. Right, they put the funds inside there for TAMCC and for NULO to a certain level, for TAMCC and to NULO to a certain level, they have put those funds inside there. Have they put those funds inside there for the others? Yeah? So, they didn't put the funds. So the only thing now, you're going to find parents or the schools may find themselves in problems when it comes to providing certain services because the Ministry of Education has made no allocation, whether supplemental or otherwise, unless you go in and add something more to the supplemental between now and the parliamentary sitting that's happening this week. Yeah, so I'm telling you all now, there is nothing in the 2023 budget that was read in 2022 in relation to this issue of the school fees. Because if you take out the money one place and there's still a need, the money has to be found other places. And if as government, you're saying, don't pay this way, we will pay on behalf of you, then that allocation, you're supposed to say, this amount of money is for that. That was not done. That was not done. Yeah? Now they're doing it for TAMCC and for NULO. But when it comes to the secondary schools and so on, I ain't seen no allocation in relation to them. In fact, the funds basically remain the same that it was there under the time of the New National Party. So I'm finding some funny things when it comes to that supplemental that you're coming to Parliament with. Yeah? So now, while they had a supplemental of 88 million that they were asking for to cover various areas, and I've just gone through one or two, there are many. But I've just gone through one or two that I'd like to flag. For instance, independence at $7.5 million between now and December. Outside of those, they're asking for an additional 60 million. So you're talking roughly around $148 million that government is coming and asked for this week. Remember, they made a provision so that they could utilize that facility. When they read the budget, governments always make that provision that you could borrow up to that amount of money if you need to supplement the budget and that kind of thing. So they made that supplemental. NNP did it before. Sometimes they use it, sometimes they don't have to use it and so on. This government is making sure they use it. So $148 million additional to what the budget has been before. Folks, again, the phone line is open, 440-7377. That is the number for you to call and get on the inside.
The NDC administration failed in the first term, and they're begging for another one. Sing for them, sing for them. They're going the wrong way. Mash up NDC. They're going the wrong way. Cannot run this country. They're going the wrong way. The leader don't listen. They're going the wrong way. So they divided him. They lie for the people. So many things they promise they go do. They say $700 not enough money. They go give 1,000 to them money.
Don't know what's wrong with the phone lines tonight.
The money program over. They go in the wrong way. Want some NDC. They go in the wrong.
So folks, those of you on YouTube and you know people who usually listen via Facebook, just give them a message. Let them know that the Facebook is having a problem so that they can tune in to us on YouTube. While we work in the background trying to get the YouTube up.
4 years now and things ain't getting better. And they keep pointing fingers at one another. Carnival come and carnival go. Problems to pay price money, you know. They go in the wrong way. Mash up NDC. They go in the wrong way.
Yeah, so we want to find out what's going on in relation to the accreditation of these medical professionals coming out of Cuba by the NDC administration.
They go in the wrong way. Inviting gospel. They go in the wrong way. Remind us of the rebel. They go in the wrong way. Behaving too ignorant. They go in the wrong way. And they suspend parliament. Unemployment very high in this country. NDC, send back the CCC. Teachers and nurses ain't getting salary. No proper medical.
All right. right, we have a caller online. Good night.
Good night, Shalom. How you doing?
Hey, I'm fine. How are you?
Good night, talking part family, man. Nice to be back and listen after Carnival. Well, Spice Mass. I was at Carnival in Spice Mass. In August. Yeah.
But my brother, for some reason, you're breaking up. Bad.
You hear me better now?
You're using a Bluetooth device or a wireless device?
I'm on my cell phone.
Directly. Okay, go ahead. You start to clear up now. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, based on what you were saying, right? You were a senator in the government a couple years back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Now, supplementary budget allocation.
You're breaking up again. My brother, you're breaking up again. I don't know why. Maybe you need to move closer to your wireless router.
I'm calling you straight.
Oh, you're calling me straight? Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you check your service. Nice. Yeah.
Well,
so,
I don't know.
I better know.
Yeah, you're clearing up and then sometimes you're making the point and it's starting to get garbled. But go ahead, you're clear again.
So probably they may be having hack already.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that when you take out you do a budget as a government, the money that you say you will spend, you're supposed to do it, not so? Why this one now take a supplementary budget for a thing called a festival like Independence? That make any sense?
Well, I'm trying to figure out what's really going on here because I'm telling you this, $148 million out of that. You know what $7.5 million could do? $7.5 million could build more than one school, you know.
Right.
$7.5 million could outfit a technical wing in several schools around the island. If you decide you want to split it between 3 schools, you could outfit a technical wing in those schools. And so isn't that more independent than saying we want to have flights with friends to come from Canada and so on, or supporters and that kind of nonsense?
No, I will give the current Prime Minister a pass because last year he didn't know. So 7.5 million for Independence 50th year celebration. That money, keep our eye on the money Grenadians.
Hey, but yeah, brother man, that money is only between September and December, you know. Come January, they have to get another set of money to use, you know. So explain to me how they're spending $7.5 million between September, October, November, December, government spending closing October.
It means guts and belly, right? Secondly, before I go, Mr. Minister of Education, Mr. David Andrews, right? Who does leave as Prime Minister when Honorable Deacon leaves the country? We are hearing things in school, and I'm not touching that tonight because what I'm
touch
hearing...
it, don't afraid to touch it, touch it, don't afraid, touch it, I'm telling you.
No, I ain't touching it, no. Because what I'm hearing is very disturbing, and the mud pieces is on the radio still denying the fact that these things happening in Grenada. So I have no problem with all these people, whatever alphabet on from A to Z it could be. They can start from L, they could end up in Z. I don't care. Do not preach that to me in Grenada. We have a culture, we have a normal understanding of life. We say we are a Christian nation. I guess diversity changes, but what I'm hearing, this Minister of Education is hiding. And I'm sure, had it been Minister Pierre as Education Minister, she would have come out already and say something. We can find Mr. David in the wilderness. We can find Minister Cornwall. We can find certain ministers. You only seen the brothers, they playing mass and shooting up guns in hand, gun salute in parties. Nothing wrong with that. Enjoy yourself. But when you guys do these things, remember, you have a nation to face, right? And there's a program called Face the Nation. I hope when our journalists decide to hold these people to the fire, Honorable Ronald Red, Honorable Deacon Mitchell, and all of you all, I hope when they hold you guys to the fire and to the ground, you guys will see Grenadians who like you all. Because your supporters condoning the things you all doing, nothing wrong with that. Support your party, nothing wrong with that. But when wrong is wrong, call it out. When right is right, call it out. And right now, wrong is wrong. This country is divided. Shall I have a good night?
All right, my brother. 4407377, and I say 130. No, it's $183,600 to that is for the seed recertification program. I wonder, 100 and something. But all the ministers say in the budget. So if you read that they're doing recertification in the budget, I therefore would have expected that at that time that there were already a provision for the recertification. Yeah? I would have expected that. Let me see what she said back then. Let me make sure. Let's see what she said.
My government has decided to continue the vertical expansion of seed program, which was scheduled to end in December of this year. This therefore means that family will continue to receive the additional $150 per household.
Yeah, so we all know that she lied when she said that now, because within not even a month later, they take the 150 from people. So we know, Gloria, you lie. All right. So we know that was a lie back then. But let me hear what she had to say.
Madam President, we will also be completing the recertification of all beneficiaries' household to determine how many families' socioeconomic conditions have improved.
So you're telling me during the budget last year that you're going to complete a recertification process, but yet still, while you're saying it, you didn't put any money in the budget for it? What kind? No, it's not me that's saying it. Listen them. I know it's not me. You have to listen them. Yeah, don't say I say. See, hear what they say.
My government has decided to continue the vertical expansion of seed program, which was scheduled to end in December of this year. This therefore means that family will continue to receive the additional $150 per household. Madam President, we will also be completing the recertification of all beneficiaries' household to determine how many families' socioeconomic conditions have improved and therefore no longer need seed support.
And folks, remember, listen, also they're going to be putting an additional $5 million there for housing. So let's see how many of you are going to actually benefit from that additional $5 million. No, $7.5 million for when it comes to independence and so. But to make you independent, they only put $5 million. So it's more important for the celebrations, yeah? For man to go and flinging money around them and all them kind of thing, and take picture with the thing dancing around them and all. Yeah, it's more important for them kind of thing. Big ceremony, go and lime, you know, go and eat finger food and drink wine. Them kind of thing, more important. But when it comes to housing, $5 million. They're asking for that this week. $5 million between now and the end of the year in relation to housing. I know many of you need it. Many of you are listening to this program need it, whether it's the toilet and bathroom that you need added to your house under the program that was started by the New National Party, or you need the building materials to fix up what you have and so on. I know many of you need it. But understand what they find more important. $7.5 million independence between now and December 31st. Yeah? But $5 million when it comes to housing. So you're telling me they couldn't put... What are they going to do between now and then? We're going to have some kind of major ceremonies between now and the end of the year. Who is going to benefit? Who are the companies that are going to benefit? Who are the decoration companies? Because I hear things about PSs. Yeah? About very senior public servants. Yeah? Madam Capsec, good night. I'm hearing things in relation to them and companies that they may or may not have an interest in doing decoration, who may benefit from this largesse. Not largesse, this largesse of 7.5 million. I'm hearing stories, yeah, of whose media entity and whose companies are going to benefit from creating the videos to promote national pride and so on, and the posters and all of these things. Yeah? I don't know if they're coming, they're going, if they're roaming, or if they're hearing. I don't know, but I hear him talk. Are the possibilities of companies that are under these people gaining significant financial benefit from that $7.5 million? I'm hearing things. I don't know if it's true, but I'm hearing allegations out there. You know, if I know it's true, I put up the documents already. Yeah? And there are documents I could put up in relation to certain things, and I just ain't ready yet. I want them say a lie. Right? So, we want to know how that 7.5 cut in. We want to know if the vendors that in town right now hustling on the sidewalk, even though some of them does watch me cross-eye when I pass, I don't mind, I still buying from them. I feel I doesn't see, I ain't blind. I have one glasses in it. Yeah, Grenadian Optical does make sure I seen proper. All right? Yes, Grenadian Optical does make sure that I seen proper. Right? So, we passing in the street. We want to know if that money passing in the town. We want to know if the vendors are going to benefit. If the creative sector that you've spoken about are going to benefit. Yeah? So all of the local creators, are they going to benefit from that largesse of the $7.5 million plus what is to come next year? Are they the ones that are going to benefit? And is it only the ones who are attached to you who are going to receive the salaries at the 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 and 50,000 to produce shows and to produce ceremonies and that kind of thing? And when you check the background of the individuals who are receiving those 20,000 and 30,000 and 40,000 and 50,000 to produce these things that are coming up, when you check the background of them, you realize nearly to a man, some of them on the NDC constituency executive in different constituencies around the country. Tell us, we want to know. Because as I said, I'm hearing things, so I'm asking questions. Yeah? And I think it's within my rights to ask questions in relation to these things that I'm hearing. So I'm hearing things, and I am asking questions in relation to these things. And for those of you, we are back on Facebook. I've gotten it back up and running somehow. While I'm talking to you all, I've been joking thing, yeah? So I've got it back up. Yeah. So we are asking the questions in relation to these things. Because I just find it difficult to understand how that volume of money will be spent in that short period of time. Is it that different groups within different constituencies that are politically aligned will be the ones whose pockets are lined with significant funds in the name of carrying out independence activities, be it community cleanups or so on, or having activities for the elderly or the children and so on, and significant money, and you know who's going to be doing the catering just happens to be one of the people that do the catering for the National Democratic Congress during the campaign and on election day and so on, and who is doing the decorating within the constituency just happens to be the people that have been doing the decorating for the NDC during that period. How is that $7.5 million going to be rolled out? I just had to ask some questions, yeah? I mean, I just asking questions because, as I said, we hearing things. Yeah, we hearing things, and we know the mental state behind it.
Listen, we have belly and we have guts, and we are going to take the tough decision, right? And we are going to do it early. And you know why early? Let me tell you why early, right? Because some people would not buy into it early. But if you give them chance for them to see it and for the thing to materialize, then we will get buy-in.
Yeah, then they will get buy-in. Folks, remember to like the page. Those of you that are not yet subscribed to the YouTube page, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube page. So in case what happened tonight happens again with the Facebook, you will have the opportunity to view us on YouTube. So remember to like the YouTube page. All right. To like the live itself and subscribe to the page. Yeah. Remember to like and subscribe. Remember to also follow the Facebook page, like and share the live so as many people can get the same information that you're getting here tonight, right? And we have a lot more to roll out tomorrow that I ain't roll out tonight. I have a lot of things I have there just holding it. You understand? But we're speaking supplemental tonight because, yeah, I kind of...
For there is a wind
440737.
blowing through the Spice Island. Listen to the people, Mr. PM.
347-329-3101.
Cause the wind is turning around. At all. Like all you did only plan how to win.
I find things kind of happening funny there because when it comes to land acquisition, I really want to hear. I want to hear that 60 million, not 16, not 6. 6 0. Yeah. 6 0. Right. That $60 million that's going to be spent on land acquisition. I'm interested in knowing how much is being spent in relation to the reacquisition of the properties that are presently being held by Time Burke Limited in Grandance. I'm also interested in knowing how much is being spent in relation to the acquisition of the properties in Calivini. We saw the Prime Minister and his team go there a number of months ago looking at the properties in Calivini. Nice place, no problem with the place, nice place thing. But we want to know the law firms involved, whether directly or indirectly. We'd like to know who were the law firms that were representing prior to the present people. If it has changed recently, we want to know who are the people that are representing now and who were the past immediate people that were representing the property owners, yeah, or the property gainers. We'd like to know as well what is the intention of the government of Grenada in relation to holding on to the properties like Radisson and so on. What is the intention? Is it that it's going to be leased? Because if the government is holding it, they must come, the government of Grenada led by Deacon Mitchell must come to an agreement with Issa Nicholas in relation to his facility that he has on the property. Let me say that again for those of you that may not have heard what I said because you turn away from the device at this time. The property that Issa Nicholas is on is at this time held by Time Burke Limited, right? Now, that property has been reclaimed by the government of Grenada. Is the property going to be given back to Issa Nicholas as was done in 1997? Is it 1997? Somewhere back then, in the 1990s. That property was passed on to Issa Nicholas. Is it a case where that property is going back to Issa Nicholas, being held by the government of Grenada? And if it's being held by the government of Grenada, we the Grenadian people need to know what is the lease arrangement that is going to be entered into by the government of Grenada and Issa Nicholas. And don't tell us it had to be secret. That is we property as far as it is right now. You have done the second document. You've gazetted the second document last week, Friday. In relation to that, I've showed you that document a while ago, folks. So they've gazetted the second document in relation to that. So we are very interested in knowing. Yes, this is the government gazette from a Friday last. And we do have, the information here in relation to the second publication. You see here, the second publication of that document in relation to the reclaiming that land where Time Burke is on. So you want to know what's the arrangement? What is the arrangement that's going to be taking place? And what part is the Prime Minister playing in all of this? Considering that he has been, from what we're picking up, Issa Nicholas's lawyer in the not too distant past. We don't know if his law firm is still the lawyer, but we know that his law firm has been the lawyer of Issa Nicholas in the recent past. Yeah? So you want to know what is taking place. You also want to know if the Prime Minister excused, take himself out of the room when that was being discussed at the cabinet level, because in my view, it is wrong for him to sit in that meeting when that is being discussed, seeing that he had a direct financial benefit to gain when that is being discussed, if it went a particular direction, or that he was directly involved with one of the parties who would stand to benefit from that agreement once the government made the move that they are making. So we want to know, we really want to know what has been taking place in relation to that one.
So I said you will not change.
440-7377, that's the number for you to call and get on to. Are you quiet tonight, boy? What do are you? All you listening?
We want kids.
How are you quiet so tonight?
We want kids. We want kids. So they need a doctor to come fix it. We want kids. We want kids. Hear the young men out on the block. Man, they say they're tired of the old talk. Listen to them. Every day is black.
You see, one listener is asking for the mirror in Beirut Gap, and yes, I have driven there before, and I know that there is a need for a mirror when you're coming up from Beirut there. Yeah, they need a mirror in that area. Yeah.
You ain't turning around. Be careful. PM like the whole country and a heart.
So let's see, $148 million this week.
So, teachers pondering on what they go do.
All kind of simmy-dimmy.
People say 600 million as them say he have. Why you still living for people to stop? No talk about corruption anymore. Don't fool on yourself, but the people know. They know, they know. So I said the wind of change. It's blowing in the next direction. Man, the wind of change. It's blowing back where he came from. Hear the people out on the street. We want kids.
Glenda Robinson, good night.
We want kids. We want kids. All you know, all you lie and cheat. We want kids. We want kids. But payback is a son of a hole. We want kids. We want kids. Hear the young ladies in the tongue. Listen to them. They say they're tired of run around. Listen to them. Still waiting for some good to come. Where is it? They waiting still. Them and their children burning in the sun. Oh Lord, Lord.
Quite interesting as well. I saw a release from the Royal Grenada Police Force a little earlier in relation to the murder that took place in Edgemont. And you know, it kind of solidifies, after I've heard what I've heard over the weekend, it kind of solidifies what Dr. Mitchell has been saying. Dr. Mitchell has called on the Prime Minister to work along with the Royal Grenada Police Force in ensuring that if they need outside help to crack the cases here in Grenada that they're having a little problems with, because I think they have about 5 or 6 that they're having a problem with. I don't think I could remember any time that we had that amount of cases that they couldn't find this person do it or that person do it, and so at the same time. Yeah, like happening within one after the other, within that kind of thing. And it is a situation where we're hearing from Trinidad that there was some kind of thing with some guy in prison in Trinidad. We saw it in Trinidad Express. I think it's Mark Bassant. Yeah, the same guy that they tried to kill in Trinidad as a journalist. Yeah, so he has his connections. And so we're hearing that there has been that information that someone in prison in Trinidad ordered a hit on somebody that was in Grenada at the time, and whatever happened, and this individual died, and who transported them, and so on. So we're hearing of an individual that has been arrested and so on in relation to that. But it solidifies the point that Dr. Mitchell was making, that Grenada needs to, if you can't solve it on your own, you need to try and find help outside. Because see where the information came from? To help solve the murder in Trinidad, in Grenada, from Trinidad. Yeah? Right next door in Trinidad, that there were individuals who were in prison that had a problem with somebody that was here for the carnival and hired people to eliminate that person, and they were in contact with different people here and different things like that. So it sort of solidifies the point that he's been making, that whether it's the FBI or Scotland Yard or whichever police service, could be the Chinese police service or whoever that you need to ask for the help, whether forensic or whatever that you need for assistance in relation to these things, that it definitely should be done, yeah? That you definitely should be asking for that sort of help so that we can bring a closure. We don't want people who have killed people. You have John T. Robinson. You have the individual that was found in the pond. You have the individual that was found in their house. You have the individual that was found in Tantine dead in their car. That you have the people who have murdered all these people. None of them are behind bars right now as far as we know. Unless they're behind bars for something else and not for those murders. But as far as we know, none of these people have been charged or found for these murders. Which means that they could be on the bus with us going to work every morning or coming home from work in the evening time. They could be interacting with us and our children and everybody right here in the state of Grenada, and we don't know. Yeah, with the capacity to do what they have done again. So to bring a sense of safety, yeah, to our Grenadian people, if we need to get outside help to bring closure to these cases, not only for the country but for the families thus affected, that it needs to be done. So I'd like to reiterate the point that was made by Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, former Prime Minister and former Minister of National Security, yeah, when he asked that the government consider calling on outside sources to assist the inside sources, because these outside sources that bring whatever happened there right now is outside sources that come and help, so that whatever they need to do, contact the outside sources to try and help. We're not saying that our people here are incompetent, but they may not have the requisite tools and they may not have the requisite information in relation to certain things to bring closure to these cases. And as such, if we have to go outside, let's go outside so that we could come back inside safe.
We want kids, so they need a doctor to come fix it. We want kids, Hear the young men out on the block. Man, they say they're tired of the old talk. Listen to them, every day is blah, 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 blah. That alone, and they can't see action to back it up. Oh, Lord. Woo! I say be careful.
Someone is asking me to play the Stanley Charles clip. I cannot play it on this program. The language used by our good friend Stanley, I will not play on this program.
PM like the whole country and a heart. Like your cabinet brain.
We have guts and belly, so we ain't playing that.
Listen, we have belly and we have guts, and we are going to take the tough decision, right? And we are going to do it early. And you know why early? Let me tell you why early, right? Because some people would not buy into it early. But if you give them chance for them to see it and for the thing to materialize, then we will get buy-in.
So here I am, since I talk about buying and all this thing. I'm still checking to see if there is going to be a press conference and if we're seeing the Ministry of Education, because this is a hot topic in our island. No matter where you go, on the streets, on the bus, in the different facilities around, people are speaking about this particular issue of the possibility of that amendment to the Health and Family Life Education curriculum that was spoken about by the teachers and the Teachers Union president. Yeah? So if it's anybody that would know the curriculum that's going to come in the schools, it's these individuals. And they have said that we are about to see certain things entered into our curriculum here. And as such, many parents are concerned. And we are asking, we are simply asking if that is so. But it seems as though they're still unable to find. Anybody heard from the Minister of Education? Any others see him? Or let's see him anyway, he hiding or he hiding? Because we can't see, we can't hear the Minister of Education. I mean, these is guys and them that like the media, they like to talk all kind of things. We don't see them, we don't hear in them. What me afraid he gets shuffle in the shuffle that taking place. You need to shuffle out. That's what you need to do. Yeah, you need to shuffle out. Yeah, left, right, government boots out. And let me ask this question as well. Today is the 21st day of August. Have those of you that are due to receive assistance under the book and the uniform program, the voucher program, have you all received your vouchers? Message me or call me and let me know. Those of you that are under the voucher program, have you received your vouchers? Have the vouchers been sent to your device that you can now go and purchase whether it's the one pair of pants and a top and some socks and underwear for the child, or a shoes and whatever it is that you could get for that money? Has that already been sent, or we still in abeyance waiting? Because remember they said it was supposed to be done, there's about a month ago. Yeah, we're still waiting before Carnival. We was waiting on that, and we're still waiting to hear. So is it a case that you all have received it? No, we can't hear nobody talking. I see some people in tongue today. I don't know if it's their money they're using or if it's the government has assisted them so that they are now able to do what they need to do. But let's hear.
I never tried to rob Lincoln children.
Yes, indeed. Oh, that's not the one I wanted to play. This is the one I wanted to play. Yeah, nice. Yeah.
With those tinted glass, they look out, but they refuse to see. I continue to be indebted. Your desire, my command. But can a government be impacted by a mere galley?
In this week's edition of Dear Government, what are you really doing? $148 million. All you do, all your budget, a thing right. Okay, certain things were not there. So we are asking, dear government, where is the money that you all promise the children of our nation for uniform assistance? Dear government, you all are going after $148 million. Yeah? How is that money going to be utilized to the benefit of the Grenadian people? Or is it going to be utilized to the benefit of your sycophants and supporters? Yeah? So, someone has messaged me, they said, no, they ain't see that yet. No, nothing shall land. All right? Yeah, they ain't seen nothing like that yet. We have a call online. Good night.
Hey, good night, Brother Sheldon.
Hey, how are you?
I'm okay, man.
All right, go right ahead.
Yeah, Brother Sheldon, school will be open very soon.
Mm-hmm.
And I do believe that the Minister of Education need to come out and clear the concerning that thing with the LGBTQ. They need to come to clear the let know what decision they concerning that. But already go, people speaking about that, right? Because we all outside doing some work, and someone was saying that parents concerned, or some parents say they don't send their children to school, right? Because you see, when people hear things, then the Minister of Education, you cannot get him to come and clear the air. Come and clear the air. People have all kind of opinion. So it's right at this time for the government to come out and speak about that. Speak about it because the Grenadian people need it. They need to know what is going on. Because when you have something outside the air and you have the minister and them hiding, all the ministers hiding, you know what will really happen to? I do some of them ministers want to come and attack it, but they must get the order from the Prime Minister. I know the Prime Minister said that you need to know. This is something that Grenadian people need to know. What is going on, what decision that the government take concerning that. And a lot of things up in the air, and the time for the government know what is going on, and people, because people concerned. And when you have people say that they don't send their children to school, but I do believe the government come out and have a press conference and they clear the air and they give people hope that with that, what is outside they know the truth. I think the parents could feel more happy about it. When I was thinking outside there, and the Minister of Education, you can't find him. You can't find him. I think it's people more concerned about that. So it's time for the Minister of Education to come out and have a press conference to inform the parents and the people what decision that they concern with. All
right, thank you. And I'll tell you this, brother, they shame. Because I've been calling on them to have that press conference, and other people, Mr. Pierre, etc., was other people have been asking what I've been saying in relation to that issue, that the ministry needs to speak. And they have not come out and said anything because they're ashamed. Because when they come out and speak, everybody go say, well, Sheldon, and then make all the talk. Yeah? But it's not me making all the talk, you know. Try and put it in the school and I'll go find out. Mac, what's going on, bro? We have a call online. Good night.
Have a good night, Sheldon. No, we don't receive nothing yet.
Yeah, I'm getting several messages saying that. Wow. Well, let's say. Well, at least they could come out and say that even if they don't want to talk about the LGBTQ in schools, they could come out and say what's going on with the voucher program, innit?
Yeah, they don't say nothing. They don't say nothing. They clap them out. So I hear people saying they say no voucher. The script, I don't know what it is.
Okay, let's see what comes up, because the minister said a few weeks ago that it would have been out the following week, and that has long gone. Yeah, that was before the carnival. So let's see what comes out now.
Man, we don't worry.
We're doing what we could do in the interim.
No, they shame you, see. They shame you. That's what they want to bring in the school.
So is he afraid that if he comes out and speaks on that people will... I don't know. I'm trying to understand. Why is he afraid? Come out and speak. Let people, if you're looking to do it, say you're doing it. If you're not doing it, it should be easy to come out and say we're not doing it. Just come out and say you're not doing it.
Yeah, but if the CTM school will get nothing, if the school get anything, they're going to call.
Yeah.
Or they go say something, but they don't hear nothing yet, so they can't give us nothing.
Okay. All right, my dear. Thank you so very much for your call.
Okay.
All right, thanks. We have a call online. Good night.
Good night to all members of the Talking Point family. Good night, NMPI. And those listening. NBCI, those of you on the fence, good night to you all as well. Time to come home. Time to come home because, you know, we always extend that olive branch as our PM did in asking you all to get the FBI, Scotland Yard, and all the relevant external entities to come in to help with the solving of the crime, because all hands on deck is needed at this time. Grenada is in serious trouble. Sheldon, when it comes to the distribution of the funds and so on for the school books and uniform program, I think that the government is holding, or the Minister of Education, through the Ministry of Education, as well as holding the parents and the students hostage. That's what you call a hostage, a hold-up. Because they want to pass certain laws, and they realize that the hot topic of introducing the LGBTQ curriculum is making waves, and they're also not doing well otherwise, so they think that that's a means to hold up certain funds. And we have been seeing that they play so many games with our nation people. It is such a shame that they cannot even be honest to even their own selves. Their own selves, they cannot be honest to. So what we expect with the nation is only when, as they say, when better can happen. With them, it's just what's going on right now. I don't know. It's very stressful for a lot of persons. I speak to a number of persons over the past few days since after the carnival finished, and it's very, very, very stressful. And when they complain to you so much, it brings on stress to you as the individual, even listening and trying to find solution to many of the ills and many of the problems that are confronting persons, the ordinary man on the street. It's quite a lot. And what I could tell persons is just, try to remain focused, try to remain calm for the time being. Better will come. It would not be the same forever. You all had a team in place, and most of you decided to listen to the lies and the propaganda and voted against it. So now is the time to make a turnaround and to redeem yourselves. Redeem yourself, as a so-called famous radio announcer said, sanitize yourself. This is the time. Sanitize yourself. Back to the NMP.
All right.
All right. Have a good night.
Thank you very much, caller. Yes, indeed. Might be able to take one more call, but let me just raise one for you here. And I'll go over it tomorrow night again, what I'm raising here right now. There has been a situation in Carriacou again of the PS in Carriacou. I'm trying to understand how this individual is operating. I don't know if when they shift in PS, that PS go shift. I don't know what taking place. There might be Manila run or something. I don't know. But explain to me how you have a qualified and certified sports coach within the Ministry of Carriacou and Petit Martinique Affairs. Let me say that again. A qualified and certified sports coach within the Ministry of Carriacou and Petit Martinique Affairs, and you transfer that person from the Department of Sports to go and pick crops in Dumfries. Let me ask that again. You have an individual. Friends, we have an individual who is a qualified and certified sports coach. And because of whatever happened between them and the PS, it seems, whatever take place between them and the PS, whatever words exchange or situation exchange or so, it has been decided that that individual who is a qualified and certified sports coach has now been transferred to go and pick crops for sale on behalf of the Department of Agriculture in Carriacou. Yeah? So they take them out from being a sports coach and transfer them to being a laborer. So don't go and coach tennis or anything else again. Your job is now to go and pick crops down in Dumfries, because apparently it seems as though the PS don't like you. That is what we reach to in Carriacou people. We tolerating that. That is what we get to. That is what we reach to. Yeah? That somebody who is a qualified and certified sports coach that ought to be there working with the young people of Carriacou and Petit Martinique to improve their capacity and their capability and their skill level in relation to their sport of choice, instead of that person who is certified, they have their certificate, who is qualified because they've been doing this for a number of years at a certain level. So instead of allowing that person to continue the job, it seems as though some kind of spite take place, and that person is now sent in Dumfries. Go and dig sweet potato and pick peas. What kind of nonsense is that? And you have the Minister for Carriacou and Petit Martinique. Well, he running the island. Everybody in Carriacou know he running Carriacou. Everybody in Petit Martinique know he running Petit Martinique. Everybody know that all that happened with that particular MP is that they're increasing in suit size. So every 3 months they had to change the suit on them that they wearing, because the one that they was wearing before can't fit. Yeah? See them in white in the moon, they can't even jump in pure white. But that is what's taking place with them. Meanwhile, these sort of things are being done to people in Carriacou, and everybody in Carriacou know who we're talking about. Yeah? Ain't it? Everybody in Carriacou, Temeo, everyone all in Carriacou know who we're talking about. So all you know that I ain't lying, ain't it? Tell the rest of the world, I ain't lying. That the sports coach, for what everybody could perceive as nothing more than spite, has been sent to go and pick crops. Huh? So that is right. Everybody's supposed to say all well and okay and sing Kumbaya. Yeah? We suppose we will continue that one tomorrow night. Folks, that's all the time we have tonight for Talking Points. It's been wonderful being here with you in everything you say and do. Do it safe and secure. I want to be speaking to and with you and not about you. Love each and every one of you. And remember, when it comes to the NDC,
listen, we have belly and we have guts, and we are going to take the tough decision, right? And we are going to do it early. And you know why early? Let me tell you why early, right? Because some people would not buy into it early. But if you give them chance for them to see it and for the thing to materialize, then we will get buy-in.
Yeah, just remember that's the same people coming to you for a vote in time to come. All right? As I said, that's all the time we have for Talking Points tonight. It's been wonderful being here with you. I am heading out right about now.
sons of men are scornful of principles of godliness, wisdom, and freedom. But woe, 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 woe comes swiftly, man. But woe, 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 woe comes quickly. Yes, they use and abuse women, they raise no children, they live a life of wicked thoughts, corruption, embarrassment, and shame. So in order to maintain power against the very forces of nature, they need to have the citizens living in fear. Man, but be not afraid, for fear is your enemy. A man afraid to speak of what oppresses him, enslave himself to a man just like him. But be not afraid, for woe comes suddenly. I say, just as the longest road comes to a bend, so do the evil works of evil men come to soon to come to an end. I say, but man, godly men who don't care that the devil takes over their kingdom, they would kneel if they feel that they could cross a deal. But woe, 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 woe comes swiftly, man. Woe, 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 woe comes quickly. Yeah. Now workers who want to please their employers and their bosses by victimizing their neighbor, because today their party is in power. I see, but they know what they do is wrong, and it's weighing their conscience down, because all men know that no man knows the hour.